Unapologetic and never back down. I want to introduce to y'all brother Immortal Techinque.
Thank you humbly very much for that introduction. I appreciate all the time that everybody's taking out here. One of the things that struck me very about the Mumia case is that he was not targeted for no reason. He was an activist in his community. He was a brother that was involved in independent journalism, talking about the truth about what was going on, not just with black people, but with working people that were suffering under the oppression of an imperialistic system, under a corporate system that doesn't give a hell about anybody. And we have appealed to a news media, but how can we ask them to find some collective consciousness when a soul is the one thing that a multinational news corporation will never have?
That's right, that's right.
It has to be our collective soul, our people. Because he was speaking up for not just black people, but for all people that were oppressed. And what happened if it was one day not just black people, but if it was Jewish people, or it was Latino people, or immigrants of any nationality that were just being targeted? It is important to always have an independent media and have a source of news that comes directly from the people. That is what Mumia was. That is what he was targeted for. That is why the reason he was given an unfair trial, shut up in a kangaroo court. And all we demand is the opportunity to have him be able to defend himself and have a fair trial here and now in this political climate.
I have had the pleasure of having Mumia speak to my students at Baruch in a conference call. I've written some comments here today, and I hope that you bear with me. This is clearly an important moment. It's a moment for us to see the reality of American society and the corruption and the bankruptcy of the criminal justice system, but also the Supreme Court, despite the fact that there are supposedly some liberals in power these days. And some people of color, Latinos I hear, and black men. We're gathered here today because justice came knocking at the door of the Supreme Court of the United States. And as in times past, the highest court of this land refused to answer. In 2009, the Supreme Court denied Mumia Abu-Jamal a hearing that would have reviewed the fraudulent and racist proceedings of his original trial. Proceedings which the Nobel Prize-winning organization Amnesty International declared, quote, violated minimum international standards governing fair trial procedures, unquote. Last year, the highest court of this land denied Abu-Jamal a hearing, even though the demand for justice in this case is supported by heads of state from France to South Africa, by Nobel laureates, by the European Parliament, and by city governments from Detroit and San Francisco to Paris. And I think that this is repeating because we might look around the nation today and think that we are isolated, but in fact there are people the world over who are on the side of justice, even when the Supreme Court refuses to be. Justice for Mumia is supported by countless scholars like Cornel West, by religious leaders like Desmond Tutu, by the Congressional Black Caucus, and many other members of the U.S. Congress. And most importantly, it is supported by us, by ordinary people who really understand what justice is not about in the United States.
We have to stay in the court of public opinion. We have to bring Mumia's case and the cases of all those who are on death row in the United States. We must demand no more executions in the United States.
That's right.
We have to have an abolitionist movement.
That's right.
We have to abolish the death penalty.
That's right.
We should be here fighting for Mumia's freedom.
That's right.
Not for his life.
That's right.
We want to make one thing clear to this government, that we will not sit back and allow the execution of an innocent man. Mumia Abu-Jamal is innocent and still on death row.